As well you should. And other facts that you should support that I was completely wrong on was the hire of Mark Adams at Texas Tech. This guy has been incredible, what he's been able to do. I thought this thing would absolutely plummet. Maybe not this year.
Come on, Jeff.
I did.
Come on.
It's Lubbock. It's the worst job in the Big 12.
I mean, the success that they've had over the past 5-6 seasons, whatever it is, he's been there every day.
No, he's clearly
the architect of something that's the backbone of what they're doing. And here's the deal: with all the new guys that they haven't lost that backbone. I mean, they really haven't. I mean, they are a stud team on defense. And right now they're finding enough offense to win. And he's done a fantastic job with that team.
Incredible job. The only thing here was my biggest question. Okay. And tell me why I was wrong here. My biggest question was, can Mark Adams, who's in his 60s, who's never been a head coach at the high major Division I level, Beard did all the recruiting. Mark Adams did not recruit at all. He coached defense. Could Beard recruit at the high major level? That was my biggest concern. Well, he's done just fine, right? Why, Sean?
Well, there's so many different versions of recruiting in today's world. And Chris Beard, when he was at Texas Tech, did it as well as anybody, Jeff. When he was in the national championship game, he had some key transfers, graduate transfers that came from a school and were eligible immediately. And, they're older. It's kind of a different version of one and done. Now you can take a transfer, not just a graduate transfer, and plug them in without that player sitting out. And the location, which sometimes can work against Texas Tech, that's not as big of a factor when you're choosing a program for a year or 2 years and you're eligible right away. You want to play in the tournament. You want to play in the Big 12. You want to play for an excellent coach in front of a rabid fan base. Texas Tech now offers you all of that, and you no longer have to deal with recruiting the state of Texas against Texas and Baylor and Houston and Texas A&M. So I think that really helps. But look, let's give Mark Adams credit for this. Is the identity of Texas Tech, their basketball program, intact? Yes. When you watch them on TV, what do you think of? Defense. When you talk to their players, what do they talk about? Defense. When you talk to the other coaches that coach against Texas Tech, what do they describe? He has that firmly in place. He's an excellent coach.
Yeah. No, listen, he's proven me wrong, completely wrong. And I'm glad because I can't wait for that February 1st game when Texas and Chris Beard returns to Lubbock. And they are going to boo him so badly. and now, listen, everybody, I thought, not the Texas Tech fans, but I thought Chris Beard was going to come back. And he'd come back as a top 10 team, and Texas Tech would be somewhere fighting for their NCAA tournament lives. And instead, it's completely flipped as Texas lost tonight, guys, at home to Kansas State. The Longhorns now do not have a resume win at all. Nowhere. I mean, they lost at Gonzaga. I was there. They got blown out. They lost a close one at Seton Hall. Had a chance there and played a bunch of cupcakes. Other than that, Sean has the number. What is their non-conference strength of schedule, Sean?
Texas is what? 358, I believe, right? 358.
358.
And all that means is in the Big 12, because there's plenty of opportunities for them to play quad one games, both home and away. They have to win in the Big 12. And if they do that, they'll be fine. But if they don't, then the committee and just generally speaking, their non-conference schedule will hurt them. They will not be able to overcome that. But when you take a job like Chris Beard did and you make that many decisions, Jeff, we just talked about it with Texas Tech. They also, Texas Tech, blended some returning good players from a previous year. And then they added some transfers. In Texas, they have a little bit of both going, but they added a ton of transfers right away. And it's hard to make those decisions in such a short period of time. And I think part of what we're seeing Texas is they just don't have that stability and that identity that I think they'll have maybe a year or two from now.
Hey, and by the way, let's give Bruce Weber a little bit of credit. I mean, the guy didn't open Big 12 play coaching his team after a good non-conference. His staff was sick. Yep. And you know what? Right now, I mean, Bruce Weber's as good of a coach as there is. I think everybody would say that when they play against their team. But if you play against Kansas State, and we've been saying it all year, the Big 12 is an absolute monster. It really is. And you're playing against, TCU and Kansas State, who's picked near the bottom, Jamie Dixon and Bruce Weber. I mean, those are the guys you're going up against. I just feel like Kansas State, they got a raw deal coming out of the COVID deal. Their head coach doesn't open conference play coaching them. He's back now. They got a chance to get their feet back on the ground. And, they did a great job here tonight with this win. And to be honest with you, he's a terrific coach.